Hi Donna.
Hi, hallo.
Oh, ich merke gerade, mein Headset ist noch nicht verbunden. Warte mal.
Ich sollte mir auch die Kopfhörer holen. Maybe we should speak in English. I don't know if there are English-speaking people already here.
Okay. There we go. Oh my goodness. Aren't you fast? Oh God, you're gorgeous. Hi Donna. I've got my first question already from the listeners. I can start with.
Du bist sehr leise. Du bist wirklich sehr leise.
I don't know why. I don't know what to do.
I can hear just fine.
Yeah, and I can hear you just fine. Hi, Frau Schulz.
Aha.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
So.
Donna, is it better now? Is it
Warte
better
kurz.
now? Is it better now? Is it better now? I have to be a bit funny. A bit funny. Donna, can you hear us properly?
Ich glaube, ich muss noch mal raus und noch mal rein.
Okay, mach das. Gerade habe ich an dich gedacht. Da kommst du um die Ecke. Hi, Conny. Habt ihr alle schon auf dem Knopf gesessen? Oh, Leute, ehrlich, I need to take my nerves.
Sollen wir mit einem Lied starten?
Oh Gott bewahre. Ja, mit welchem denn?
Gute Frage. Hat jemand einen Vorschlag?
Ich muss euch ja zu Co-Hosts machen. Gut, dass wir reden. Als Co-Host einladen. Und Donna, du bist natürlich auch Co-Host. Okay. Das scheint geklappt zu haben. Donna, funktioniert das mit dem Co-Host? Yep, okay, wunderbar. Und Conny, du kommst zum Sprechen bitte hoch. Okay. So now I think we have to switch to English. The first English-speaking women are here. Hello to everybody. And I actually got news that over the pond they are interested. Across the pond. Oh yeah, there's Canada is in the house, and so we will have a huge community here tonight from all over the place. Thank you very much. Hi, June. I am thrilled, to be honest. I can't tell you how thrilled I am. And I will shake my nervousness at some point. Donna.
I wanted to suggest maybe the women, the international women, could just post in the thread of the space. Maybe you could just post from which country you're from. It would be interesting to see how international the space is. Maybe it's just Europe. Maybe it will just be the German-speaking Europe. But I know, as you just said, Canada is here. I believe that some women from Belgium are going to be here. It would be just interesting to see.
Absolutely, that's a good idea. Voila. Hello.
Oh, hi, the squad. I don't want to post on something that's going to remain, but yeah, I'm in Sweden.
All right. Wonderful.
So yeah.
Hi. I'm
Hi,
glad
there's a couple of us.
Oh, beautiful. That's great.
So, I mean, Sweden is beautiful, but isn't I just imagine Stockholm to be very woke. So how is it over there?
I'm not in Stockholm, but yes, Stockholm is quite woke. It's all kind of woke, but not. I don't know. They all know I'm a turf, so I don't have a problem where I am. So,
Great.
so yeah, I mean, I guess it's capital cities are different, and I've seen that the pride flags have already, sorry, the progress flags I saw this morning were flying in the last 24 hours, so we can expect the same old shit. But yeah, it's not affecting me on a daily basis. I won't have any pronouns in my company, and I wear what I like, and everybody knows how I feel. So I don't feel it's as bad as, say, some of the Australians and certainly the Canadians that have been in spaces with me. So that's my observation. There's a few more TERFs organising in Stockholm that I know of, but yeah, there's no self-ID. There's a few people that I know that share petitions for self-ID on Facebook, but they get maybe 3 likes. And I think everyone's aware of the medicalisation of minors in Sweden, which isn't happening, but we still encounter lots of non-binary twats walking the streets daily, is what I would say.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so maybe I was mistaken. So maybe it's Norway, the countries up in the north. It's hard to follow.
Yeah, Norway is bad. It's
Yes.
It's self-ID and the whole thing with one parent,
The
one
hate
child,
speech.
and the hate speech.
Oh,
No, we don't
yeah.
have that in Sweden. And if there were trying to introduce it, I'd be part of the resistance. But no, it's not. It's not the same as Norway, and it's not the
Okay.
same as Denmark. But I think in this region, I think Norway's the worst, followed by Denmark. Finland is very woke, but not on medicalisation. I think Sweden is probably the best for us right now, but the worst for the TRAs.
I get it. Yeah. So before, so could we just, yeah, okay.
Just a quick question. Are you connected to Bodil?
Pardon?
Do you know her? Are you connected to Bodil?
Who's that?
She keeps showing up in WDI spaces, kind of, and she's an activist in Sweden. I thought you might be interested.
If you could DM me, that would be awesome. Maybe I have come across her. And I can contact. I'm in contact with a couple of people, but yeah, the real activism is in Norway, which is the worst.
Right.
But thank you.
So,
thank you very much, Donna.
Yeah, I wanted just to say before we start. I mean, obviously we would start not before Kellie J.Keen comes into the space, but to gather some of you beforehand to have the space a little bit going. We started earlier. But yeah, so maybe this space today, as you maybe read already, Posey Parker, Kellie J.Keen, is starting her European tour, her tour in continental Europe, because Great Britain is in Europe, as we all know. But yeah, she's gonna come to other European countries just as she did in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and we're really glad that she will start in Vienna, which is where I'm living. And the Speaker's Corner, the Lasst Frauen sprechen auf Deutsch, Let Women Speak event in Vienna is going to be on June 10th. It's a Saturday. It's going to start at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. We're going to go until 3 p.m. And I can, because today I had the opportunity to be in a news broadcast, and I broke the news about the venue. So we will be in Sigmund Freud Park. I'm sure you all know who Sigmund Freud is, or at least you heard of him. So yeah, we are next to the university, and I have the clearance from the police. I think I hope it will be a nice sunny day because it's June. So if we're lucky, we will be a lot of women there. But if some of you guys here are spontaneous, as you know, some flights are not that expensive. We still can look for rooms or for places for you to sleep if you are one of the spontaneous kind. But yeah, we will be very happy to have you in Vienna. And after the next day, she's going to go to Geneva in Switzerland, where the UN is. Because obviously these whole self-ID laws, the hate speech laws and everything are not only coming from our own national parliaments, but they're trying to push it onto us from above. So yeah, of course, the UN is part of that game. The EU is part of that game. So even though you just said, Frela, that Sweden is quite okay right now, I am afraid that if we don't work together as European women and on some level, that even though we might have a parliament or a very strong resistance in our own countries, if we don't try to work on an international level against the European institutions, or then in a matter of time, I would say 5 or 10 years, we all be fucked. You know.
Donna,
Yeah.
just on that point, I'm absolutely not. I'm British, so I'm from Turf Island, and I'm hoping to bring my turfery to the Nordics.
Oh,
But
I'm so sorry.
no,
I was just thinking, because Swedish people can speak
I
so good
know
English. I was just sure she is a Swedish woman.
no, they do, and they tend to speak with the accent of whoever they've met who's English. So they're amazing at mimicking accents. But no, I am English. But no, I'm not taking. I've been here for years, and I'm not taking anything for granted, which is why I already looked at flights to Vienna and Geneva, which are all difficult from where I am in Sweden. But yeah, it's for me, it's about getting ahead of the onslaught rather than just being like, oh, it's fine, at least we're not Norway. So that's where I'm coming from. But no, not taking it for granted, because the EU is a big driver behind this bullshit. So yeah.
And we have a
Okay.
quite similar situation in Austria, just because, we have a similar situation because our left-wing parties are not in power right now. We have a conservative and right, oh my God, I forgot. I'm so sorry. No, it's a conservative and Greens. It's not anymore conservative and right. But yeah, Safadi is not on the table right now in Austria, but we have a similar situation because it's not that bad in Austria, but still, for some reason, because of the whole propaganda and the culture that is being established everywhere by politicians, men can go into a sauna and self-identify into it, into a women's sauna. So somehow in women's everyday lives, even though we don't have self-ID, companies are starting to adapt it, and yeah, totally. Anyway, I'm just going to make a point here.
Sorry. Yes, Donna, please, please, please. I want to say something about how this place is going to work, so that everybody has an understanding of what's happening here. This space is going to be recorded. So everyone needs to be sure that they want to. I will, if Kellie J.Keen is okay with that, I will use it as usual when I record my spaces. I will post it on my YouTube and on my podcast site. Just so you know, if you want to speak, just be aware you will be recorded and it might stay with us. That's one thing I need to say. Then the other thing is, there might be many people who want to speak, so we try to have a limit of about 2 minutes so that everybody can ask questions. This is a women mostly space. Women speak as long as there are women who want to speak. Hello, Kellie J. I'm just wait. Okay. As long as there are women here who want to speak, they will speak. Men can, like ask to be speakers, and if it happens to happen, it happens, and if not, not. Okay, so welcome, Kellie J. I was just explaining how my spaces work because I do them every week, and I've got my kind of rules, and we have rules for us today. Hello.
Hi, good evening. I hope everyone can hear me okay because I've tried to put this through something to make my sound good because my signal in my house is horrendous. So I hope I can be heard and thank you for the space.
No, thank you for coming, to be honest. I am absolutely thrilled. And I think I know about the people who usually come to my spaces are two. And I'm so happy to be able to speak to you and to give you the opportunity to answer questions, if there are any, and to, well, promote your tour. That's what Donna invited me to do. And here you go.
Very, very kind of you. And I cannot wait to come to both Vienna and Geneva and then do many other dates throughout the year in Europe. I might do just a whole tour because it gets a bit much giving up so many weekends. My kids get a bit annoyed.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that. I wonder where you got the time for them. I mean, you are out and about all the time, aren't you? So, Donna, have you got any question you would like to ask to start with, or otherwise I've got one from the DM.
I would just oh, I'm sorry.
Please let me. I have difficulties hearing everyone very properly, so it's very interrupted. So I will go out and come in again. So just to let you know.
Thank you. Oh, right. And Kellie J, I haven't told you yet. I mean, you're used to it, but for reasons here in Germany, I need to inform you that this space is being recorded. And I would like to use it later on my personal YouTube or podcast space because I do that occasionally. If you do not want that, please let me know. Thank you very much. Okay.
Oh, well, that's really great of you to ask, but I sort of think that anything I do publicly is, is basically up for anybody to record, whether I give them permission or not. So I'm more than happy for it to be recorded and for you to use whatever you want, wherever you want.
Thank you very much. It's due to German legislation, I could get problems if I don't inform the people in the space that they are being recorded and maybe stay on the internet for, like the next 100 years. Okay, thank you very much. Donna, you wanted to ask something?
I just wanted to say something to Kellie J. I wanted to say I'm very honored that you're coming to Vienna. You're starting your Europe kind of tour in Vienna, and I'm hoping for the space today to be about hyping each other up and making each other feel more courageous after it. Because as you might have learned today. there broke some news in Austrian media that there was a guy with a beard and a penis who went to a sauna, a city sauna. It's like from the Vienna city, and he went there on the particular day. It's a Thursday. It's Women's Day in the sauna. So everybody knows that who likes to go to a sauna. And of course, he took the shower naked, and he was a German guy, and he had some ID, identification. We don't know what the identification was, but still he came here and did all that as a German citizen. So, what is interesting about the case is not only that men can do whatever the fuck they want, it is also that apparently the German self ID law that the German government is planning to put into effect this year, it's going to be in fall, I guess, but they have the draft of the law set and they want to put it through, is going to affect us in Austria as well and in other countries that don't actually have self ID. So, yeah, I really think it is important for all of us European women, even though we are maybe in countries who suffer that are not quite that threatened by self ID in such an immediate aspect like Germany, we all as European women are going to be affected. So yeah, I'm very, very thankful that you're taking your precious time away from your family. I have a son, almost 2 years, and I can just a little bit relate. It's just one kid, not four, but still, I know that it is hard, and I'm very glad that you're taking your time to come to Austria and raise some awareness, because apparently people are listening more that now that they know that you're coming to Austria. So the article I read, you posted it, I guess, the Parker effect, I can totally agree. And I am very glad that we can benefit, we women in Austria can benefit from this effect that you are. So thank you so much. And I'm so hyped. It's in 2 weeks almost. And yeah, maybe we can just make this space positive. And I really want to say, anyone can say anything, but if it's gonna go down the hill about negativity, I'm not having it. I had such a long day and I want to feel good about this.
Absolutely, I agree.
I don't
I
actually have a
agree
question. I
fully.
had
And
no
of
time
course,
to look up the question. I'm sorry.
okay. But I have got a question. I just wanted to say that I posted before that the first hater was around, and I made it very clear. This space is a we celebrate space, and we're not having any BS of attacking people attacking you, Kellie J. Um, no way, it's not going to happen. So relax, and if you've got a time limit, just let us know. We will make this like kind of crisp so you can go back to your family. I'm happy that you're here. How could you prevent the self ID in Britain? Let's start with that one. How did you manage?
Okay, so I think A, we were a little bit ahead of the curve. We were forewarned. We were talking about this. I mean, look, that I'm I'm not an idiot. I know that way before us heterosexual women had any idea that it was going on, there were lesbians all over the world who were watching the invasion of their spaces. And so we know that was happening. I think what happened in the UK in 2004 when we got self ID, well, when we got the GRA, so we haven't really got self ID, but when we got the GRA, the Gender Recognition Act, which comes from sort of the European Court of Human Rights. When that was happening, nobody was consulted. Nobody really talked about it. But when in 2015, we elected a conservative government, and I think a lot of women were quite aghast and became just a little bit more politically aware. And I certainly came across women who were looking at the Olympics. So back then, I think we thought, isn't this terrible that these men are going to be in our sport? And so groups were formulated that now are sort of the groups that you may know. So Fair Play for Women, for example, long after them, Women's Place came about, and other activists started talking. Julia Long, for example, Dr. Julia Long did a meeting in 2016 that we needed to come mainstream. And I just think there's many threads to this as to why we succeeded. We managed to get a billboard. You know, I did a billboard in 2018, and I think those sort of stories. I was also interviewed under caution by the police in 2018. So those sort of little stories of really bad behavior by trans activists, it was kind of endorsed and supported by the state. Women were, our ears were pricking up to that. And also we've had a conservative government. Had we had a Labour government for the last sort of 10 years, who knows whether or not we would have also suffered self-ID. And I'm not saying that makes the conservative government heroes. It really doesn't. It just means in this single issue, in this one issue, I suspect that part of that is that we've had a conservative, a centre-right government.
All right. Okay. Fruella, do you want to ask a question?
Maybe a moment. Can you hear me?
I can hardly hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe the moment passed, but it was just.
In a moment. Okay.
It was just a couple of things that both you with what and Donna said about.
I can't hear a word
I'm
of
so
this.
sorry. I can't hear a thing, Fruella. I don't know. Maybe it's better to go out and come back again. Thank you. I have got a question that I received via DM. It's a bit in the same direction, but let's see. It seems, this is the question. It seems like women in the UK have been leading in the global fight for sex-based rights, and that the tide is finally turning in your country. After being in this fight for 5 years, what advice do you have for the women in Europe who are still in the early stages of pushing back against gender identity ideology? What strategies could we implement that have been successful in the UK? Thank you.
Well, I think the grassroots movement, the fact that women, just regular women with no political affiliation or some political affiliation, can leave it at the door. The least successful campaigns, actually, and I loathe to say this, but the least successful campaigns have been those that have tried to convince people on the left that women deserve human rights, that women are adult human females. That's been the least successful campaigns. The more successful campaigns have been really careful to keep politics out of it. So that would be Fair Play for Women, and Nicola Williams was really strict. I personally thought she was terrible for this, but I'm totally wrong. But she was really strict on, Fair Play for Women, people accepting, people going out and campaigning for them. Stuck to Fair Play for Women. There was no dilution of her really clear, definite aims. And it certainly, that really paid off. That got women out in the streets and doing something. So I think fundamentally, like the Let Women Speak events that I've been doing, and that we have incredible women who tell their stories. We ask nothing of them, but just their voice, and sometimes just their bodies to enable somebody else's voice to be heard. And that's been very powerful. And I will not be drawn into sort of stating that the right or the left have done well in this, because they absolutely haven't. But I think when we just respect women, when we don't speak to women, speak for women, but we speak to them, when we stop expecting women to agree with us on anything else but this issue, I think that's when women are all powerful. Because actually we do have a shared experience. We all have a shared experience in the world in relation to those men in our culture. And we have a very similar experience, physiologically through puberty, which changes our perspective in the world. And I think we have to stick that is the thing that unites us. And the things that divide us, we just have to put aside. And so maybe this activism cannot come as part of a package of another political campaign or ideology, because I think that's where you lose people.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. It seems that you're very right there. Brella, shall we try
Okay, can you
again,
hear me
if it
now?
works now?
Oh,
Yes,
perfect. I've
perfect.
disconnected Bluetooth. It was, yeah, maybe the moment's passed, but it was something that you said, Le Squad, and also Donna, about saunas. And I think maybe I have an insight on this because I'm a Brit, but I also live in Northern Europe, is how popular they are in West and Northern Europe, the sauna situation. So Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, Germany, Austria, I guess. So there's even more to fight for, because it's not something that it's culturally inherent in the UK. So yeah, people have a sauna here at least once a week, and it's such a ritual, which I know it is in Germany. I'm not so sure about Austria, but that's another reason where self-ID would really fuck things up on a day-to-day basis, is the kind of sauna culture of the rest of Europe, which the UK doesn't seem to have as much. And I think the toilets are one thing, but if self-ID became the thing for sauna culture in all of these European countries, it's absolutely horrific. So that's all I wanted to say, because you both mentioned the saunas, and obviously I'm in a sauna country, and as is Finland, and as is Norway.
Can I just ask, just for the ignorant Brits, and I might be the only ignorant Brit on here, but are saunas sometimes mixed sex then? Are people in the nude? Is it often mixed sex, and then you have one night or one sauna that maybe is just for men on an occasion, and one night that's just for women? Like, and are people naked, or are people in a bathing suit?
Yes to all of it. It's both. You have some mixed facilities, so there's always going to be a mixed facility. The ones that people have in their private homes or private communities, it's kind of up to them. So you'll have families being completely nude, and it's always quite awkward if you've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend with a Scandinavian parent. But you normally have the option of both, and it tends to be flagged if they are nudie. So, for example, there's some that I won't go to because I'm uptight Brit, and it's nudie, and I'm a bit shy, and probably more shy with friends actually. But yeah, you tend to have an option, but you tend to know in advance if it is mixed and nudie or if it's single sex.
So I'm just thinking strategically, and then I'll stop talking for a bit. But I'm just thinking strategically, is this a way to tell men in Europe that actually their single sex, lovely men only sauna is also at risk? Like, I'm assuming if nudity is a little bit more commonplace, which I understand it is in Europe than it is in us prudish Brits, but if nudity is a bit more common, then I would imagine there is a bit more of an understanding of what's at stake with the saunas. Is it? I mean, is this like a lightning rod of kind of?
Maybe,
guys,
because for women it's either spa, which you do a lot, like every other week, and or if you go away with your girlfriends or your families. But for men in Sweden and Finland, it's a bit more of a bonding ritual, and they drink a lot of beer. And I love beer and I love saunas, but I don't kind of mix them. But it is a little bit of it is a bit more of a ritual for men to be together. So maybe it's maybe that could be an in. I don't know. For women or families or mixed groups, I think it's probably not as much of an issue. But for the Viking men, it's where they get their cocks out and drink beer, which seems a bit weird to me.
Can we also?
Donna, I don't know what your question is. I just
No, I
wanted
don't have a
to.
question. I just wanted to move on to the people who are raising their hands.
That's what
Okay.
I was just going to do. The next one is Initiative Lass Frauen sprechen. And that
Yeah, hi.
came in the back. And then Frau Schulz, and then Velo.
Okay, Nikki here. Hi, Kellie J. A few years ago, you did, or somebody, in connection to you, did a billboard with the definition of adult, of woman, adult human female. And that was the first time I actually noticed that belonged to you, because people were losing their shit about it. I'm wondering, do you ever meet people who have no idea what's going on, and when they ask you what you do, you tell them, oh, I sell stickers with a definition of woman, and people hate me for it? I mean, how do
I do.
average people react to you, to what you do?
I try and pick people all the time, because I think that is the way really that we will win this, by sort of having personal conversations with people. So yes, I do. I say, oh, what is it you do? Especially if they come to my house, because this is where my studio and my office is, and I have big signs on my studio door that says adult human female studio. And people say, what do you do? And I say, well, I basically remind people that women don't have penises. I'm a women's rights campaigner. And then I'll talk to them a little bit about what's going on. And often they will then tell me, well, there's a guy at work, or because I have lots of deliveries here because of what I do. And my kids seem to have more money than I thought they did with their online shopping. So we just get people all the time. And I've had tradesmen recently. And yeah, the general consensus amongst normal people who do things like deliver goods for jobs or build things or plant stuff is that they know what's going on, and they don't like it very much. And most of the people I encounter are men. But then I also wear badges everywhere, and I also try and start conversations wherever I go, and I'm quite loud. So yeah, we do it all the time. And people, when I tell them that in order to come to Geneva and Vienna, I've had to spend thousands on personal security, they're all a bit aghast. But yeah, yes. To answer your question, yes, I do.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. So, Frau Schulz.
Yes, thank you. So we have people beside from Germany and Austria. We have people from Sweden, Canada, Australia, England, Scotland, Switzerland, Ireland, USA. So it's a very, very diverse in the auditorium. And I have one question from the comments below. Kellie J, what are your plans for Europe?
Okay, so I think it would be better to do better for sort of me personally, and also better for momentum after I've done Geneva and Vienna, because I think Vienna and Geneva, because I had on Turf Talk, within like 2 or 3 Turf Talks, I had about 8 women from those countries. And so that's why I was inspired to do these countries first. But I really want to go to Denmark. I really want to go to Finland and Iceland and Sweden, go back to Norway, a country that I love. And they seem to have very similar senses of humor, quite cruel to the Brits. I just want to do the whole of Europe. And I think I'd probably have to do it over a couple of weeks, but I'd rather do a really, Belgium, everywhere where this stuff, you just wouldn't even think that it could happen in countries where so much of the language is, I hate the word gendered. I wonder what we called it before that. But where so much of the language is male and female, it's just unfathomable that it can even happen there. And certainly countries like Spain, where there are, a lot of people that still go to church. So I do want to do the whole of Europe. As soon as I've got an idea about what that is, we'll be reaching out to people in those countries to sort of say, look, is this a crazy time? Is this like where your whole country shuts down? And find out that. But I think it will certainly have happened by the end of the year, if not really before autumn.
Did I miss that you mentioned Germany, or did you leave it out on purpose?
No, I definitely want to come to. I went to Berlin and I weighed food in a place where you pay for your plate of food. I love Berlin. I really want to come back, and I've already talked to women in, and they were deciding whether it's best to go to Munich, or a couple of other places. So Germany is definite. I apologize if I missed it out in my list, but I think it's totally imperative that Germany is on the list.
Well, if Berlin, let's put it that way. If the Berlin women withdraw or want to get you elsewhere, I'm here, and I will do anything to get people together to help me organize an event. I want you here. I am in Berlin. Thank you.
Danke schön.
Frau Schulz, bist du fertig? Are you ready?
Yes, yes, over
Okay.
and out.
Then over and out. Okay, Velo.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I have a question regarding strategy, because I came across that topic roughly 3 years ago, basically related to what was happening in the UK and also Canada. And maybe naively, I thought as soon as one would educate or spread the information across the German public, there would be a common uproar because it is kind of idiotic to put people with a beard and intake male genitalia into women's spaces and just expecting women to accept those persons as females. Well, I was kind of proven wrong. That's why I said I was a little bit naive. And looking back into what was happening in the UK, I was wondering whether there was one most successful strategy or whether it was a combination of strategies that really brought the topic into the broader media and especially started critical discussion and looking at different opinions about self-ID and transgender identity ideology in general. So what do you think? Certainly, the Let Women Speak events generate a lot of attention. They generate images, pictures, which are, I think, very strong because they raise emotions. But there were also other initiatives more centered around certain topics like fair play for women, the whole issue of men in women's sports, and the ignorance related to scientific knowledge and the biological advantage males have. Do we need all of them? Would it make sense if there's only limited women power to start initiatives to focus on one first and then do the other later? What are your ideas about that?
Okay, so we also had a press that would report stuff. So we had a press that would report stuff really early on, and that's really helped. I think you probably need lots of different strategies. My strategy is to try and tell everybody to ring the alarm bell so everybody says, look over here. This is what's happening. Do you know? And also to encourage individual women. And I do believe that you can encourage and empower individual women, even within a society in which they may not have as much power as we would like. But I do think we can empower individual women to stand up and say no. And if enough of those women do it, I think that works. However, you also have people that have to do the more time-consuming and I would call it boring work of legislation, actually whining and dining politicians. And often, I think that comes with it compromises. And those compromises I'm not willing to make, but they are. And who's to say that we wouldn't be this far if they hadn't kind of talked in compromise? Because by the time, in most countries in Europe, most of the women that are here in this space will acknowledge that it's gone a little bit too far to just say, well, they've got dicks. They're men. They've got penises. It's evil to transition children. And I think it takes a certain sort of person to be able to just say it. And ultimately, I think that probably is the most powerful thing that we can all do. You know, just like if your friend says something racist, you wouldn't sort of sit there and just say, well, you know, I know some people are racist. You would just say that's disgusting. Don't say it. Why would you say something so vile? And I think maybe we need to do that. But look, every woman is trying to cross this finish line. However she does it is going to be a woman that we can all appreciate and stand beside and support and be thankful for. So I haven't really answered your question very well. I think my strategy is best, but that's because I'm a show-off and I'm confident and I don't mind people hating me. That won't work for everyone. So if the only thing that you can do is put some stickers up or write to your MP or go and talk at your school board, then do that, but do something. I think that would be my message. Whatever it is, do something, and I promise it will help.
Thank you very much. The next on my list is Word. Word Rebel. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello, international women. I'm so happy about this space and about you all attending, and especially Kellie J, of course. And oh, wow, Donna, and so many of you are here. And I've been following you guys, and I'm really hoping I can make it to Vienna. But if not, I will come to Munich or to Berlin, whatever. I will do that. I had an idea that's quite similar to what Veloci asked you. I just read on Helen's page that someone wrote that she wrote this is they are asking us to accept that men are defining women, and someone wrote below that a comment that it's beyond parody. And I thought, no, this is even more. This is just coercive control. This is not just like a parody, something to laugh or something. But you know, when I imagine a man forcing me to do something that is beyond absurd, then I would think he's trying to control me. He's trying to gaslight me. And I think we have to really see what is happening here, and we have to really acknowledge that this is not just some kind of trying to be nice or whatever. And I think when you go a step forward and see it what it is, that it's really making women putting women into like a cage or something, then I think you can address this in this moment. Would you agree, or would you kind of like how could you hype us to just be, you know, to say no in this moment, and would you agree that this is coercive control?
I 100% think it is coercive control and a form of abuse, but on a state level. Dr. Julia Long gave a speech at the House of Commons. David Davies allowed some women to host a debate, and I think it was there that Julia talks about the sort of the way you're abused. Like at first eventually you get to a point where you can't even name the abuse. You can't even name what it is that you see in front of you. We can't say that it's indecent exposure when a man comes into our space and shows us his penis without our consent. Like it is. And it's that's why it feels so weird. I get emails all the time from women and from all over the world who feel isolated and gaslit, and they feel like they're going mad. They feel like, am I wrong for not wanting that man in my space and seeing him as a man? Because everyone else is saying that it's true. So yes, 100% it is a form of abuse, but it's on such an astronomical level, and it just makes me think, especially since there's so many Europeans in this space, it just makes me think we all look back in history and think that would never be us. We would never do that. We would never go along with something that was so preposterous, horrible, And yet we in this space probably know that we wouldn't have, but now we can see how these things operate, and it's fear and it's kindness, and they talk about fascism. It doesn't come as your, it doesn't come as a big monster. It comes as your friend, and I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing authoritarian control.
Yeah, thank you. On my list, I've got June. Did you want to say something, or did you just come up?
No, I don't want to interrupt your whole Europe thing. I just never like to miss an opportunity to say, please come to Canada. And I know you're trying and we need your help. I really just want to be listening to all of the stuff that you guys are having over there and take notes and learn from you. Because I'm trying, to network over here and we're making a little bit of headway. And we're not going to stop. So I'm just going to be listening in on all of your wonderful tips from you ladies.
Thank you, June. We're following what's happening in your country closely to be aware of that, and you've got our full solidarity, just so you know.
We're a giant red flag. Literally, look at the flag. We're a giant red flag.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so I've got Donna here.
Yeah, thank you. So, Kellie J, now that you said Dankeschön, we'll ask for more. So do you think it's possible for you to say, I made the leaflets, some of our women translated it into German, and it says there, Frauen haben keinen Penis, Männer haben keine Vagina, Transition ist Kindesmissbrauch. Transition bei Kindern ist Missbrauch. I know it sounds hard, but could you just try maybe and say Frauen haben keinen Penis when you're here in Vienna? You don't have to say it right now, but I think it would be just nice after all of your stops through Europe, you could just say this one thing, that women don't have penises, in all the different languages, and then there could be a compilation or something like that. I would find that very, very cool. And so that's one thing. And the other thing is, what I'm struggling with a little bit is the ability to mobilize the women to get out of their houses, out of their shells. And I totally understand that they're frightened in this climate. They can, we all know it, the repercussions that they will face maybe with their employers and everything, with their families. Some of them are so much into their shells that even good friends don't know that they're actually TERF, because they're so afraid of talking to them about the topic. And yeah, this is the situation. And these women are so glad that you and so many other women who are within the movement, within Standing for Women, within Let Women Speak, are able and have the power of mobilization, of organizing so many women, that you can actually come to other places and raise awareness somewhere else. But as much as they love that and all the awareness you're raising, they see how much hate and attacks you get. So they are frightened again. They are like, yes, great, look at the pictures, all the people are talking about it, our hashtags are blowing up. And then again, they're like, but what if something happens to me in Vienna? Because look what they did to her in New Zealand. And what happened to you in New Zealand? This was so awful. My dear friend Natasha from Britain, she lives in Vienna, immediately wrote to me, we have to go to London. I cannot stand this anymore. This is such bullshit. I hate what they're doing to her. And we came to Hyde Park in April just because of what happened to you in New Zealand. And an Austrian journalist, a woman who I think hates women very much, wrote a whole article about the incident in New Zealand and about you. And she was full of shit, quite frankly. She was like, trying to, make it as if it is all right for these men to attack a 70-year-old woman, to attack you, everything that happened to you there. It was so dangerous. And I don't want to overdo it, but I know it's dangerous. What you're doing is so dangerous, and you have a family and children, and still you're doing it. So where do you take the courage to still do it? And can you tell the other women who should come out when they're in Vienna and I mean, we need women there. We cannot just be 20 or 40. I want them to be a bunch. And what do you tell the Viennese women why they should come out on June 10th, even though there's a lot of attacks or possible attacks or the threats to your person, to the whole movement? What would you say?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to talk to women who are frightened even to talk to their friends. And June from Canada called in Surf Talk, and I think she texted her friends and found out they were all raging tough. So I just want to say, if you're frightened to share something with your friend, I'd question that friendship anyway. But if you're frightened, just be mindful that they might feel exactly the same. And then as soon as you release these words that you are holding in, that I promise, ladies, will drive you crazy if you don't speak. If you just keep it in and you can't speak the things that you know to be true, I think it's a quick road to madness and feeling just so bereft about the place in which you live that you have no freedom to even speak. That's the first thing. Like, take a chance. Number two, be more afraid of your silence than your words. Be more afraid what happens if you don't speak. Be more afraid that the next time you go to that sauna, there is no such thing as ladies' nights. There's only ladies' nights with men with penises, because women are too frightened to go to ladies' nights anymore. So that just ceases to exist. Be more afraid, rather than coming out and gathering and standing next to women. Be more afraid that already there are no lesbian spaces in your country. That if your daughter or your niece or someone that you love or yourself is a lesbian, that you no longer have anywhere to go, and they no longer feel that they can choose to be same-sex attracted, because they will be called bigots and they will be called transphobic if they don't accept penises in their precious lesbian bodies. So be more afraid of that, because that is what's coming. That it's not maybe, it's not, oh my God, what if? It is coming. That is a narrative that will unfold before your very eyes. And would you rather have lost a little bit of something than all your dignity and all your self-respect, as you just remained silent because you were afraid? And let me just tell you also, that mob and that stuff, and I don't know, I don't really feel that. I was terrified when I was in it. I was terrified just for falling over and never getting back up. And my husband watched it live and then booked me the quickest flight possible to get out of that place. But the victory of what people saw and what's changed in New Zealand and in Australia, even if the conversations at first start off terribly, the victory of breaking that silence far outweighs any fear or anything that happened. Probably even the lady that was punched repeatedly, which was so horrendous. I think she would probably say the same. And throughout history, it's always taken people that are just willing to take steps forward on behalf of other people. And that's what stops stuff. So that's it. Just honestly, look around you and ask yourself, what will it take for you to speak? Like, what needs does your own daughter need to have a double mastectomy for you not to want that to happen? Does your own son need to be sterilized before you think that you don't want kids being sterilized in your country? Like, just really keep a fixed mind and a clear sight that your silence is helping this evil spread.
Thank you very much. Kellie J, I just want to mention again, I told you before in some of the space that I am very grateful that keep mentioning lesbians, and their problems. That is not always the case. I'm very grateful for that. I've put on my list Frau Schulz, June, and Judith.
Thank you. Yes, I totally agree that we need to speak out. We speak out loud. We speak everywhere where we can. I don't want to interrupt the discussion with the most important questions about strategy, but there are two questions about the location of the happening in Vienna and also in Geneva. And before we forget this, I thought maybe Donna or Kellie J.Keen could answer that question very quickly so that we can come back to the more interesting questions of strategy.
Donna, you better ask the question about
Yeah.
Vienna because I don't know.
Yes. So today we decided because the news broke about the sauna, and I got this invitation on a quite big news outlet, TV news, and we decided, Kellie J and the women from Standing for Women, that we are gonna break the news about the location via the TV broadcast. So the Viennese location is out. It's Sigmund Freud Park. Sigmund Freud, in Vienna. It's in the 8th district, but on the edge to the 1st. It's like very central next to the University of Vienna, and it's on the ring. The Rathaus is quite near, and a lot of other sightseeing buildings. So this is Vienna. It's on June 10th. I'm going to repeat it quickly. June 10th, we are going to start on 1 p.m., go until 3 p.m., and it's going to be in the Sigmund Freud Park in front of the Votivkirche. For Geneva, I don't know the location, but if I'm not mistaken, the rule to break the news of the location still stands for other things that I think Geneva will come out next week, 1 week before the actual event. So I believe Geneva is not disclosed yet, but Vienna, we did disclose our location today, and yeah, that's that, I guess.
Before we go on to the next question, I want to remind everyone that we limit the length of questions to 2 minutes. So please try to be as concise as you can. I will start using a watch and interrupt if you talk longer than 2 minutes. Thank you.
Plus, I want to say I was made aware that someone is recording this space. I don't know if I can stop that. Who is known to fiddle with them. But just so you know, just for your information, we don't have to change anything we say, just so you know. Thank you very much. June.
Thanks. I'll be super brief. It's just when Kellie J was talking, it reminded me of this quote that's really been important to me lately. And it says, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And I think that's really the heart of what we're talking about when it comes to speaking up. And I did say to myself, do I want to be friends with somebody who is against what I'm trying to do here? I can obviously be friends with somebody who's ambivalent or unaware, but I'd like to know anyway. So it might be a painful thing, but it's worth it. So it's a good quote.
Thank you very much. Judith?
Yeah, thank you. Hello from Vienna. I wanted to refer to Donna, but first I wanted to ask maybe someone can post the announcement of the Vienna event up above so everyone can see when it is and where it is. Yeah, and I wanted to refer to Donna. Why should women come to the Viennese event if they're afraid something violent might happen? I want to say I'm going to be one of the stewards, and I'm really looking forward to this event. But I really don't think it's possible that something like New Zealand would happen in Vienna. Our police is completely different. Donna is in contact with the police, and there is an LGBTQI street event on the same afternoon. And when I read Green and Social Democrat politicians writing about our event on Twitter, I think he was a social democrat, trans-identified man. He called for the people to go to this street festival, and not come and counter-protest us. So if there's a counter-protest, I think it won't be too big. And I don't think there's anything to fear for personal security. And we will be there, and we have enough stewards, and I think it will be a really great event.
Can I just say quickly, thank you, Judith, that you're going to be a steward. Yes, I think everything's gonna go fine. I just wanted to say, yeah, the police is very cooperative, and they thank me to be that I am cooperative. But I, with all the things, don't want to praise the day before the evening, as we say in German. Lobe nicht den Tag vor dem Abend. So we will see. You know, they still have to prove their abilities. We will see what they're gonna do. So I am trustful. I trust our police force, but we will see. The other thing is we have stewards, and I'm very very glad that people like you are ready to be steward. L Squad is going to be a steward too, but we still need stewards. There's never enough stewards. So I am very, very, very thankful for each and every woman who is willing to put on a vest on the day, because the more stewards we have, let's say 20, for example, all the other women who are first-time stewards, they will be feeling safer too. Not only the women within the circle who are speaking will feel safer, all the stewards will feel safer. So yes, there's never enough stewards, I am arguing. So please, if someone wants to be a steward and has the EU citizenship, we will have briefings. There will be a Zoom call before the day, and there will be a briefing on the day. So when we are more, then there won't be as much responsibility on fewer shoulders. So don't be afraid, be a steward, and help us all get through a great and very, very, very calm event. That would be great.
Just one sentence, I forgot, sorry. I will not take my children there. This is not going to be a family event. I will not take my children there, but I'm not afraid of any danger for my physical security. But I would not take my children there.
Thank you very much. So, two things. Hopefully, I blocked the person who's probably recording. There might be others, but the one I was made aware of is gone. And then I've got, on my list, I've got Velo and then Zarin. And before that, one question from the DMs. This lady heard about you, Kellie J, founding a party in the UK. Will you try to spread it all over the world, as the given parties in our countries are not doing anything for them? What's your plan?
100% is to spread it all over the world. It's basically a party that just focuses on women. I'd like to see a women's act, and I think one of the main things that we'll be looking at is actually to obliterate the GRA, make legal fiction history. So yes, it will definitely be something that I want to go all over the world. I think there are campaigns that sort of ask women to ask their politicians things, and I actually think, no, let's be the politicians. Let's not ask people to represent us in ways that we know they won't. Let's just be in the conversations. Let's be in the levers of power. And in this country, you actually have more direct access to the general public, I guess, if you are in local councils and sort of political police positions. So those things are quite good. Like MPs are great, but actually to impact whether or not an elderly woman living on her own in a home gets a female or male carer, you might be better off in a local council. So 100% the Party of Women, hashtag POW. And then I thought, actually, if we have Party of Women, everything real, then it would be hashtag power. But that's just a hashtag thing and not quite the most important part of the whole thing. But yes, global world domination is what we're looking for, ladies.
Oh my God, Kellie J, be careful. World domination. Can't say that in
So sorry,
Germany.
it's totally inappropriate thing to say. I do apologize.
Okay, gotcha. Frau Schulz, hast du jetzt noch was für uns?
Ja, ich habe noch eine Frage an Kellie J. So I have a question for Kellie J.
English, ladies.
Yes, I have a question for Kellie J.
Me too.
When will you launch your women's party? So the question was to the when.
Okay, so at the moment we're doing all the bureaucratic stuff, and then when we get approved, I think we'll be launching properly in August. So that's the sort of time frame we're looking at. You have to do, as I'm sure every country is the same, you have to do a lot of things in order to officially sort of get your constitution signed off and get everything sort of proper and recognized and completely hermetically sealed so that it's completely incorruptible. Both me being corrupt or anybody else within the organization. So we're just doing all the fine tuning at the moment.
Okay, just one remark. If a microphone is open, I close it from here, just so you know. It's no offense, but I do not want to stop the speakers by saying, can you please turn your volume off or something like that. Velo, Saren, and then Jane Doe.
Thanks. Just 3 brief comments. First, I want to really support what Jelly K just said. Please, women, do not shy away from grabbing power. Power is nothing bad. Power is what we need to have to actually make a change for the better. It's not something I've done politically because I'm not an organized political person. I'm just a politically interested citizen, but I've done that in my job. And you'd be surprised that power not necessarily compromises your values. You can actually, as long as you stick true to your own inner moral compass, you can use it to make changes for the better. So I think this is something where we all have to, or many of us have to overcome female socialization, which associates power with something dirty and bad, unless it's wielded by men. So please, whenever you have a chance, don't shy away from running for certain positions which come with power, because this is what you need to have influence. And influence doesn't necessarily corrupt. You can still be fair and unbiased and really, really drive changes towards the better. 2 short more comments. The first is I also volunteer to be a steward. So shout out to all the other women. Please volunteer. I'm not an experienced steward, although I've been to a couple of demonstrations throughout my life. But if I have to be, I can be a very stubborn, just standing there, kind of human flesh wall. And this is what I tend to do. Plus, of course, discourage any inappropriate behavior. And the third point, and this is something which is really close to my heart, is that I've been to Vienna a couple of times. Vienna is a beautiful city, but what's even better is that when I was the last time in fall last year, I had the pleasure to meet some of the great feminist women from Vienna, like, for example, Donna. And we met for an evening. I was going there for work-related purposes, and they made me feel very, very welcome. It was a fun evening, and those women alone are worth visiting. So please come to Vienna.
And she's a little, Comrade Veloci is a little, like a little dog. I mean, she's tiny, but she's vicious. So I am absolutely pleased to be steward with you, Delo. Okay, Sarin.
Yeah, good evening from the north of Germany. I have a question regarding, in general, the media coverage. We know that media here in Germany is quite one-sided. They hardly make reports about the trans ideology, or if ever they make it in favor of trans ideology. And I think it would be a good idea, perhaps to, if that's possible, or to get someone, a journalist or the TV, to make a coverage of these events, and then probably we might, hopefully one day, also see it in the main news, because that's what happens in UK, and also I think in the States, where Fox News and other news outlets have already reported about that, the trans ideology and also the different views. But here in Germany, especially in Germany, and I think in also in other European countries, is only, it's around zero. So I don't know. There must be other people also in the media that probably do not share all the ideas about trans ideology, that probably are also more critical of trans ideology. And I don't know whether we could try to get them in the boat and or on board, and probably have a different media coverage, and also come perhaps with a TV to your events and film it, and then place it somewhere, and not only on Twitter or YouTube, but also on TV, so that the audience would be bigger. What do you think about it? Would that be possible, or how could we achieve that goal?
I think it's a great idea. The how, I guess, is the bigger question. So I just reach out to as many people as possible, send out press releases. But the biggest story created in New Zealand was the bad behaviour of trans activists. That actually is the thing that peaked. Like a load of peaceful women gathering to talk about their rights. Unfortunately, probably from a news point of view, is not worth their time, which is really, really sad. But if I'm hated enough in Germany, then they'll report it. But I don't know if anybody knows who I am. I don't know.
Yeah, that's if I may answer that directly. Yeah, so what I also fear, if there's a lot of trouble, and if there's something happen, and not in a positive way, but then probably there will be a media coverage. But would be better if, or of course nicer, if we also have coverage of people who are really interested in the topic and who have a more neutral or more positive view of that. But yeah, that's how it works. No? If you have troubles and people fighting, then probably you have more coverage.
Yeah, let me just, I'm just going to try and give a whole answer really, really quickly, because I probably will have to go at 8:30, which is in 27 minutes. So very quickly, look, if women come and they speak, and you build those women up, and just a few women watch, a few thousand women watch, and then they come, and then the next time there's an event, more women come to speak, more women speak out, then you slowly, strongly build a movement. And we shouldn't fear that then it might take a little bit longer to galvanize or tell the whole public what happened. Clearly, if there's bad news and something horrific happens, and there's a mobbing or there's violence, more people will know. But I don't think, whilst that's great, I don't think we should downplay the importance of women feeling that they can come out and safely speak, and that other women watching on will do the same. Like, media may not cover it, but media is not, mainstream media is not necessarily what is building this movement. It is women making connections with other women that build this movement. And slowly but surely, we will win, because we are speaking the truth. So I don't think we should fear whether or not mainstream, but if anyone has any connections, tentative, massive, or very strong, then it would be great. Whoever is reporting, I don't care what their views are on anything else. Whoever, well, within reason, whoever comes and reports would be great.
Thank you very much. I've got on my list Jane Doe and then Donna, but I need to ask a question from someone from the DMs. How does founding a political party work with your political message? And do you have any policies about other gender unrelated stuff? Did you get that? I wrote it
I did.
from the DMs. Okay.
We will all be very familiar in this European, mostly European room, that we had a man called Nigel Farage here, and he set out to question the validity of our involvement and participation in the European Union. And I don't know if he had policies about anything else, but I know that he achieved the UK leaving the European Union, and he achieved it almost single-handedly. He was the figurehead of that movement, and we don't have to agree with him to see that he had success as a single-issue campaigner. That's simply how this will begin. Whether we go into other areas is another issue. Like, would I like to make sure that we have a Women's Act, that maybe we discuss other things that are biologically related and not ideological, like whether or not we look at the menopause more carefully, whether we look at things that impact women in different parts of their lives more carefully. I'm sure that is something I would like to get into, but we have to achieve this goal of ensuring that when somebody says the word woman, or whatever it is in whatever European language we speak, or whatever language all over the world we speak, when somebody uses that word, I want it to be absolutely clear what they're talking about, and that nobody else and nothing else is ever included within that word. It's only adult human females, and girls are only infant human females. So that's the goal. That's why it's a single issue. And when it comes to the rest of politics, I have my own personal views, but I feel that they may get in the way of forming a really, really strong movement against this totalitarian cult.
Thank you very much. So, Jane Doe, Donna, and then Frau Schulz.
Yeah, hi. Hello from Geneva. Thank you for coming to our city, Kellie J. I want to first encourage anybody in Switzerland or nearby France to come to Geneva. We are a bunch of women from all over Switzerland who have already volunteered to steward, and we're in touch with Kellie J's team. It's a great bunch of women, and like many of you said, it feels scary to talk, but when you meet like-minded women on this topic, it's so much fun, and you feel less alone, and you feel more courageous, and you start speaking, and you start joining school boards, or writing one letter to the newspaper, or talking to the politician, or talking to your neighbor or your boss, and it's like a snowball effect. I also believe that Geneva might be very interesting because, one, we have the UN and all the big NGOs that are also pushing this. So if we can get it on the news or get the event publicized, we can get more women or men informed about what's going on. And one thing, we do have self-ID in Switzerland. I missed the beginning of the space, so I don't know if people said it. We've had it for a year. But we also have direct democracy, meaning we can do a referendum or an initiative. And I think we're one of the few countries that if enough women and men disagree with this, we could also repeal self-ID. So we absolutely need Switzerland to, like, with a tiny, tiny country with 4 languages, but I think we could be a key player on this. I mean, that's my hope. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I told you that the next one is Donna, but please, Donna, be a bit patient. Connie wants to speak, and she wrote to me, and I didn't see it. And I think she's been waiting for a while. So, Connie, your turn.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello.
We hear you, and you just ramble on.
Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, as long as you don't press with your big finger on the microphone, you will be here. Well, now you switched it off. Switch it back on and talk to us.
Okay. Well, I try to ramble on, and I try to make it short. It's about strategy in general. Donna mentioned it at the beginning of the space, I guess, that self-ID law is going to be a thing in Germany within the next couple of months. They are on their third draft, I guess. And just to give you, Kellie J, an example, it contains, for example, that you can change your gender on the monthly, meaning you can go to town hall, register, and just declare you're a man this month and a woman the next. And
no, yearly.
That also means.
Connie,
oh, was it
sorry.
yearly?
It's yearly.
Sorry. No, I don't want to spread false information, but well,
that's why
anyway.
I you.
Yeah,
that
no,
yearly,
very
but
good.
That's still often enough.
The thing is that is on my mind, and that is really important for me is 98% of the population, I guess, really do not know what is going on. I've been to a birthday party of a gay male friend lately, and even all the gay men there, they just didn't have a clue. So also within the community, a lot of people don't really know about self-ID law and what they are planning. And it's not even in the news. And what I would like to know is how can we make the population in general more aware of what is going on behind the scenes and what they are planning to do.
Well, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but one of the things that really did spark the conversation was the billboard. And that's because it was such an innocuous, kind of harmless dictionary definition. And then people really did talk about it. And they talked about it a lot because the trans activists took it down. And then that was all very interesting. And I guess that ship may have sailed because now it's a known thing to do. But I think it has to be something like that. I mean, that man using the sauna on a ladies' night, I think that's a news story that will create conversations. That gives you all a reason and a way to talk about it. If you go to weekly saunas, I don't know if that's the same all over Europe, but if that's like a ritual, that's a perfect place to start talking about this. That's a perfect place to put up your little stickers. Maybe clip the newspaper article, put it in places where people can see it. But I would really make such a meal out of this specific story because that's a way to open a conversation. So I think it might take that if all of your news is absorbed and captured by this pernicious cult. But it really is, look, if they've got all of this sewn up, we're just going to have to get very, very creative. And as an English woman, I don't know what very creative might look like in Vienna or Germany. Maybe I'll just come over and we'll have to do a talk. But I don't think that's also going to generate as much publicity as my ego might like. So it's just thinking about where's the perfect place to reach. Could you go to a really important like Bayern Munich match, load you buy a ticket, stand outside, make a bit of a fuss where there's already cameras, or go to some sort of event where there's already cameras? That might be a good idea. But I have no idea is the honest answer. It needs to be big and it needs to be soon.
Someone tried to put up a billboard, I heart J.K. Rowling a year ago or so, and it was taken down. They are everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere to stop us. So, yeah. Well, anyway, Donna, now it's your turn.
I have to say, I find it so very much interesting that, I've been in politics for 12 years now, and I learned a lot of campaigning methods. in courses within the Social Democratic Party, and every time a Social Democrat who was with me in those courses tells me that I am monothematic, I have to laugh about it, because the first and golden rule about campaigning is stay on the message. Nobody is telling Greta Thunberg to talk about something else apart from climate, you know? So I know exactly what they're onto. I know exactly that they are seeing that we are effective, because if we don't stay on the message, like Kellie J, I have to say, you are such a talented campaigner and an organizer, and I love that so much about you, because I mean you have, as I already said, the effect, the pull effect. So I love that in Vienna, I can just call you over and know that this, for some reason, is gonna raise awareness. But of course, I did all the other things too. I reached out to journalists. I think I wrote about 20 people, journalists in German-speaking countries, in Germany, of course, too. Some of them did reach back to me, some did not. But the thing is, the chief operating journalist of this news outlet, you know, where I was on today, I reached out to him for Kellie J, and he told me, yeah, I would love that, but right this week we are full with the political landscape of the country of Austria, because we have a labor conference on Saturday, and I understand that, and I was like, fuck, and you know, fuck, there are much more important news. And when the incident of this sauna guy broke today, he wrote to me immediately when he liked my tweet, oh, I guess I can reach out to you earlier than I thought, so come over. And I said to him, the main thing I want to do is promote my Let's Speakers Corner, let women speak. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Let women speak. This is the most important thing for me. I'm gonna say that. And he said, yeah, well, fine with me. Just talk about the other stuff too. And I did. So what I want to say is, and what I know about the German journalists, all of them are telling me, yeah, but it's Vienna. So you are 8 million people. We don't really care about you. Germany is huge. You have 80 million people. And if Posey comes to Germany, the journalists there, not all of them, a lot of mainstream media doesn't care for it, but there are journalists there who would love to be right at the place if something happens. Of course, they need a story. They need the pictures. This is why the events are so great, because you get pictures, you get video material, you can talk about something. But no journalist is going to say, oh yeah, this tweet is a story. It is not. You know, the tweeting is important too, but the stories are told with pictures and with footage, and this is what I love about the whole movement. So of course, if you decide to do something in Germany, and you should do something in Germany, there are women in Germany who have the contacts to the journalists, because those women gave me the contacts to the journalists. So the German landscape is not so fucked up, the media landscape, as you might think. They need the stories, and Kellie J.Keen does know how to tell a story, and you just have to you just have to make her come to your country, and then you will be in the media eventually. If it's calm and everything goes fine, of course it's wonderful, but then there is no story. But if the other side shows their faces, as Kellie J.Keen always says, then the people will immediately show what character they have, that they're aggressive guys who like to scream at women and make them, shut up. So yeah, you have to just do the event, and then everything will follow. I truly believe that.
Thank you very much, Donna. In our course, someone said thank Donna for her engagement, and yes, thank you very much. I wanted to say that later, but it's a good thing to say it occasionally. Thank you very much. You're inspiring. Anyway, So thankfully you're back and promoting the tour with Kellie J, and that's wonderful. And you are, for me, the most inspiring women recently. Um, and I think that many things happened in Germany because you, Kellie J, have been such a, well, role model, I would say. Anyway, I follow you in a way that I started doing my own things because I'm so inspired. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you to Donna. Thank you to Kellie J. There was a question I want to ask, and then Frau Schulz's turn. There was someone asking if there's any event planned for after the rally. How far can you go by telling us about that? That's Donna.
Oh, where
Yes,
did you
there
say?
is something. Yeah. In Vienna there will be an event, but we can talk about it. We will see,
Okay.
if you're there, then you will find out where we're going and what we're having. But we won't talk about after drinks. You have to come to the rally first to know.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
good. Thank
True.
you very much. Yeah, that's for safety reasons, I think. Frau Schulz, word rebel on Velo.
Yeah, I just want everyone to remind that it's only 9 minutes left. So if there are any important questions for Kellie J, please ask them now. That was all.
Brilliant. Word rebel.
I just wanted to add that because I think it is really important to stress it, that you, Kellie J, are, for me, I've been listening to your interviews for many years, and we didn't have much to hold on to in the last years. It just started in Germany. So I have been talking to many feminists, especially in the context of violence against women coming from domestic violence backgrounds. And I've been trying to tell them about this, and it was almost impossible. Many couldn't speak English, so I was trying to translate things. I translated stuff from you. I translated the essay from J.K. Rowling, and we were trying to to speak about this, and it was so impossible. And the UK women really pioneered this, and you are one of them, one of the most important ones. And I wanted to say about you, it's, you are so clear and you're so honest in all of this. I think this is what we can hold on to as well, because we really need this clarity and this honesty from people who do politics, who make campaigns, and who speak about things that are important. And so I wanted to say thank you so much, because you're really on it for such a long time already, and some people don't even know this history, this background. And I think people really should do some research on you and listen to the early interviews as well. And there's so much in it, and you can really learn from this. So thank you so much.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much for your kind words.
Yeah, and I want to say one thing because I almost forgot. You have inspired movements in Germany. So kudos to you, but also to the inspired women here in Germany who started doing things in the past year and a half, like Initiative Lasst Frauen Sprechen, Rona Duve as a person who's out there all the time and putting her head, like out there, and people smack on it. And she's one of our brilliant fighters. Initiative, as I said already. Then Radfem Berlin and different groups in all over Germany that have been founded recently, where women do grassroots work, oftentimes with the initiative, because that's one of the major better known organizations, if you want. So you have inspired the German women, and I don't want to forget to mention them. And Sex Matters, we've got the same thing, like Sex Matters in Germany too. So something is moving, but Germans are a bit slower than you are. Let's put it that way.
Could you maybe, as your last words in the last 5 minutes, just do, because I hate that you are banned on YouTube. Could you just do what, I mean, I know that you're live streaming on Twitter now. I watched your live stream yesterday. Could you do what you always do? Like give us your last words and then some of your hyping, I don't know, hype us up, Kellie J. Please do that. I would love that for the last 5 minutes you're in the stream. Have the last word.
Yeah. And please tell us why
Sorry, carry
please
on.
Tell us. Sorry, but Kellie J, please tell us why we're gonna win.
Okay. So, I truly did. I mean, look, I listen to these spaces and I reflect upon the fact that 5 years ago in July, I sold my first stickers and T-shirts in order to, and I realized, look, German women, I'm really sorry, I'll sort out the capital letters. But I sold those T-shirts just to raise £700 to put a billboard up. And I kind of, I've always been this person. It's not like I became this person through this, but I have become a better version of whatever I was before through this movement. And I think there is an integrity and a compassion, and we begin to see a sea of women as a potential tsunami of change. And so I listen to all you women from all across Europe, and we're all experiencing the same thing. It's a textbook, top level, top down, well-funded coercion of a population and what it means to be able to speak the truth. And it's happening in all of our countries. So we kind of have a duty now that whatever our differences, that we stand so firmly together. And many will come and try and divide, and they do all the time. And I get more friendly fire than I think I get oppositional kind of torpedoes. And the friendly fire can sometimes be more hurtful, but I'm a relatively resilient woman, and I know I'm right, and nobody gets to tell me that I'm wrong, and nobody gets to tell me that I can't say what I want or behave in the way that I think is right. And I want all women to feel that their instincts know better than themselves, and that when you instinctively know something is wrong, you have a duty to yourself to speak up and not rationalize it ever. And so if we all, as a no longer united Europe, but as a constituency of women, a global constituency of women, if we all stand together and put our differences aside, I promise we will win. If we can look upon each other as women first, before anything else, before these borders that divide us, the language that will seek to keep us from talking, and we just see women and the humility and the humanity of women, and we think of that woman as valuable as we think of ourselves, then I promise we will win. And ladies, if you fear your silence, truly fear your silence, more than your words, I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Because I never lose.
Thank you, Kellie J. You made my day. I actually am tearing up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think now I'm even more inspired to come to Vienna than I was before. And I'm thrilled to meet you there. I hope I will be able to. And thank you so much for sharing your precious time with us and being in our space for such a long time. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I want to just say before anything, thank you so much to each and every one of you that joined the space. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for Donna, who came all the way over to the UK to champion the rights of women, which really has inspired my trip to Vienna. I was already coming because women are calling it Turf Talk, but I promise you, ladies, you come. We have a lovely woman called Louise, who is from the north of England, and she says that coming to Let Women Speak is like a pilgrimage. You genuinely, you have no idea how much it will feel liberating, but I promise you will. And those words that you've been desperate to say, you will find coming out of your mouths, and you will feel a liberation that is, it sounds just so dramatic, but it's so true. That if you just let these things go and you say them out loud, I promise you, you will feel just so empowered that you can return to your own lives and you can actually speak the truth whenever you damn well please. So I look forward to meeting you all, and thank you for this space.
Thank you. And now off to your family. Have a lovely evening with your children and your husband. Okay. I would stay in this space. If you don't mind being recorded, I would just keep it open. And now we can open it up to anybody, everybody.
I would like to ask something. So one of the comments asked, or was it was a sad comment because we talked only in English. So at least one, I guess, more people would have a chance to get some of what was said. So maybe we could try to give a very short summary of the most important point in German before we go on with English, and maybe we can switch languages from time to time to include those who are not able to speak English or not as well.
Fühlst du dich dazu in der Lage, eine Summary zu machen?
I would try. Maybe you can help me. So I would start from the last and switch to German. So wir versuchen ganz kurz zusammenzufassen einige Aspekte, die gesagt wurden. Für diejenigen, die sich nicht so versiert fühlen in der englischen Sprache und vielleicht nicht alles oder nur wenig verstanden haben. Und ich würde jetzt versuchen, ganz knapp zusammenzufassen, was Kellie J. gesagt hat. Ich bin natürlich nicht in der Lage, ihr Charisma rüberzubringen. Das müsst ihr euch dazu denken. Sie hat also gesagt, dass die Zeit, in der sie diese Kampagne durchgeführt hat, beginnend vor 5 Jahren, ganz klein mit einem T-Shirt angefangen hat. Und in dieser Zeit ist sie eine bessere Version ihrer selbst geworden. Durch das Ganze, durch die Arbeit, die sie gemacht hat, durch die Kontakte zu anderen Frauen. Eines der ganz wichtigsten Punkte ist eben die Möglichkeit, dass Frauen sprechen können, dass Frauen regelmäßig quasi zu diesen Speakers Cornern, zu diesen Events pilgern und die empowernde, die ermächtigende Wirkung dieser Angelegenheiten, dieser Events spüren, merken, wie das Aussprechen der eigenen Sicht, das Aussprechen dessen, wie wir darüber denken, was das mit uns macht, wie uns das Kraft gibt. Das war ein ganz wichtiger Punkt. Ansonsten zur Strategie war eben ein ganz wichtiger Punkt, war überall dort, wo es irgend geht, sprechen, 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 sich trauen zu sprechen. Sie hat dann nochmal gesagt, dass Schweigen wird uns nicht beschützen. Ich weiß nicht, ob sie das in Referenz zu Audre Lorde gesagt hat, aber es hilft uns nicht, uns zu verstecken. Wir müssen sichtbar sein, wir müssen mit unserer Meinung sichtbar sein, wir müssen laut und deutlich sprechen, möglichst ohne Angst. Dann gab es organisatorische Infos vor allen Dingen zu Wien, weil die für Genf sind noch nicht raus. Es wird im Anschluss auch noch was geben, was aber nur denen gesagt wird, die auch vorher zu der eigentlichen Veranstaltung kommen und sich nicht nur in diese Party einschleichen wollen. Das waren jetzt die Sachen, die mir vor allem aufgefallen sind. Vielleicht kann noch die eine oder die andere ergänzen und sonst können wir ja im Folgenden versuchen, das Wichtigste vielleicht kurz auf Deutsch zusammenzufassen, wenn Bedürfnis dazu besteht. So, damit höre ich jetzt auf.
Okay. Word Rebel hat gerade, Word Rebel just, oh my God, I don't know which language to use, to be honest. Word Rebel hat gerade vorgeschlagen, eine Zusammenfassung auf Deutsch zusammenzustellen. Das ist ganz wunderbar, wenn sich da welche aufgerufen fühlen, das zusammenzumachen. Also ich wäre dabei. Das wäre eine super Sache. Die könnten wir dann posten für die, die des Englischen nicht mächtig sind. But I want to shout out to Exulanzik. I am absolutely honored that you're here. Thanks for coming to this space. I haven't seen you before. Someone pointed it out to me. Maybe you're a bit late. Unfortunately, Kellie J is gone now. But thanks for coming. I'm really moved. Okay. I think. Okay, now I have to. We have to wait. We have to be patient. Exulanzik, hello. It's afternoon where you are.
Yeah, I'm on the west coast of California.
All right. Okay. No, it's 9:30 p.m. in Germany, so it's kind of lateish. So have you had the chance to listen to Kellie J before, or did you
I came
later?
right at the end. Sorry, I heard her last couple comments.
Okay. And we're just this minute we are summing up for the German speakers because well, usually this is my weekly space that I do here in Germany, and I invite Kellie J.Keen and Donna to introduce the Europatour, and yeah, we're just summing it up in German, and then we will go back to English or try to find a way to do it for both languages so that you can stay if you want.
Can I just ask? Angie Jones is in the space too. Can she come up to maybe the American women and the Australian can share their experiences? I mean, wouldn't that be great? Like talk about how speakers or how Let Women Speak events went down in their countries. What they can maybe tell us how to go about stuff. I would love that. Maybe someone from New Zealand is here too.
They have to actually ask for like speakers' rights because I don't know everybody yet. I'm like a little tiny little.
I'll drop down so someone else can come up.
Yeah, thank you. We've got spaces still, but yeah, that would be nice. And for the women who Exulanzik just mentioned, please ask for speakers' rights so that we can pull you up. Thank you very much. So, ich habe gerade mit Exulanzik besprochen, dass wir jetzt doch, ja, da wir sehr viele englisch sprechende Menschen haben hier oder vor allen Dingen Frauen, würde ich das ganz gerne in Englisch weitermachen. Wir können versuchen, einen Weg zu finden für die, die jetzt wirklich dann noch Nachfragen haben, gegebenenfalls zu übersetzen. Wir können ja mal schauen, wie das funktioniert.
I would say we stay on English. You're totally right, L Squad. We should stay with English because it confuses the people. As much as I understand that maybe there may be women who don't understand quite much, but the space we could make an after space for the German-speaking women then, and summarize and everything. But as long as we are in this space, we should stay with one language.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm a Libra.
I mean, you said it. I just translated it in English, so you just said it in German.
So I can't make decisions, Donna. I can't make decisions. I'm a Libra. I want harmony, peace and harmony everywhere. So anyway,
I'm Taurus.
On English.
So I'm Taurus. So I just jump in. So I would volunteer to take some notes in English, and then if at some later point we do a separate German space, I would be happy to translate the summaries of those. If that's okay. If we maybe have a second person taking notes as well, that would help because I might miss out things, depending how quickly people speak and how quickly I can write.
Have I told you that I love you yet?
Not tonight, but before, and I love you too. Just so that everybody knows.
Thank you very much. Word, can you assist? Ilse?
I will help her. We can exchange via DMs.
So I have a question to Exclusiansic. Yeah. Oh my God, I don't know how to spell it. I have a question. So how is it in California? How is stuff in California? How is the situation there right now? Would you say with the woke culture and the anti-women climate? And after the tour, did some things change? What would you say?
I would say that I've given a couple of talks to groups in California. It's the last one I gave was to a Republican organization, and they were of course very receptive. I also gave it to a university women's group of women who had gone to the university in the past, so they were older. And they were also quite receptive, although at the beginning of the Q&A, it seemed like they were still a little bit reluctant to share their feelings. But by the end of it, they were very open to it. And so I think that what Kellie J.Keen had said is accurate, that if you just get them to start talking about it and they hear themselves talking about it, they realize it's not unreasonable to have these concerns. Whereas everybody's kind of just too afraid to speak out right now. And then in response to my last talk at the Republican organization, which was with a few other activists too, a woman named Soleil Gibran, sorry, that's my pun of her name, Soleil, wrote an article about it that's been picked up now by the national news and MSNBC, and then it was also published in the Chronicle, where she just kind of just called us disgusting and said that our speeches were so awful that we made her literally puke. And so it's been interesting reading the comments on those appearances of her and her writing. But I feel like they really don't have a rebuttal to what we have to say. They can't really talk back with anything besides they'll say that these surgeries are not happening to minors, and then if you doing these surgeries to minors, their next response is, well, that's a good thing, or they're almost adults, or things like that. So they really. I do think that the facade will fall as long as we keep poking holes in it for people who are in the mushy middle that are uninformed about what's going on and want to be good people. And they're just looking for how to be a good person. And they need the information that's accurate in order to make the right choice.
It's interesting because when I talk to doctors or people in the health system in Austria, they tell me, don't worry, because those who are, they say just the same as you just said. They tell me, no, minors don't get the surgeries, the sterilizing surgeries or the mastectomies. And then I say, yeah, they do, because here I have the statistics. And then they say, yeah, but those sterilizing things, they only get right before they're 18. Like, this is something good. And then when you try to get numbers, there's only one statistic out, and it's from 2017 for Austria. And can you imagine, in the statistic, they put all, and it's like 70% of sterilizing surgeries in the system, in the hospitals in Austria. 70% are in the group of people who are 15 to 29. So they made this large ass group just to cover all the minors who are in this group, as if it is hard to determine the 15 to 18-year-olds. So what I read out of it is that there is 15-year-olds who are getting sterilizing surgeries in Austria. And they are just blatantly, they are lying to us. And I tried to reach out 2 times. I emailed them, the health system, the health company, and they are just not answering. I wrote to the person who wrote the whole report with the statistics, and they are just ignoring it. So yeah. I mean, and then doctors are telling me privately, working in the hospital, that they feel bad about how many mastectomies are done to young girls, in Austria, in Vienna.
Right,
and
exactly.
Nobody,
And
yeah.
and when they put the girls on testosterone at like 11 or 12, which is what they've been doing, they'll put them on puberty blockers as young as 8, and then they'll put them on the cross-sex hormones when they're in middle school. What happens is that within 3 to 5 years, they have like severe fibroids and other problems that then prompts doctors to remove their uterus and ovaries. Like we know from I've done a literature review of this. If you actually dissect the uterus and ovaries after it's removed from a female that's been on high dose testosterone during her reproductive age, different things happen than they expected to happen. Specifically, they get the fibroids and they get the scar tissue forming in the ovaries. And so that obviously creates pain. And then there's also the ideology that, well, you don't need these anymore because you're trans, so you only need the male hormones, so we can take out your glands that make the female hormones. And it's just awful. So that happens within a few years of starting this cosmetic dose of testosterone, which is of course a very high dose, much higher than athletes would take who are trying to dope for athletic benefit, much higher than women would take for a medical reason, who were not trying to change their entire body. So it's just pretty awful. And yeah, that of course sterilizes them. They can no longer sustain a pregnancy, even if they still have their ovaries. If you remove the uterus, of course, they can't have a pregnancy, but often they'll remove both. And that of course sets them up for early onset dementia.
I don't know, Exulantic, if it was Angie Jones, who you mentioned before. Anyway, if you hear me, I have invited you. I don't know if you can't come up or if you won't come up. You are cordially invited. Yeah, thank you very much.
I would like to invite Roisin too, as a speaker,
yes.
if it's possible, to give us some brief knowledge about not only maybe the situation in Brussels, but she knows so much about the institutional level, like the EU, Geneva, and the UN in Geneva. So she could maybe come up and like brief us, because then it gives the whole space like this united aspect, like telling us what all of European women will have to fight against, because if the EU pulls self-ID, then we all are going to have to accept it. And please come up, Roisin, you're here.
Hey, Donna, can you hear me?
She's here already. Yes, thank you.
Hey,
Yes.
how's it going, everybody?
Tell me you're coming to Vienna
yes,
first.
I have
Are you
I have
coming
a
to
ticket
Vienna?
for Vienna,
Yes.
of course. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a flight to go to Geneva straight after it, because I missed most of the conversation earlier because I was putting the kids to bed. But is the plan to be in front of a UN building or something? What's happening?
We have not really discussed any detailed plans for Geneva.
Okay. Well, I'll be there anyway, but I was trying to figure out if I should go to Geneva the next morning or the same night. And it's just, flights are expensive, but some people on here really nicely contributed towards my ticket prices. As you know, I'm turfing, as we all are, we're turfing on our own money here. So yeah, I don't have anything prepared to say. I've just been spent the last 2 weeks working on an article for Jennifer Bielek's blog, which is actually talking about the UN. And it's, I don't really know what to say. In terms of what's happening in Brussels right now, there's something really kind of scary happening, but it's not directly related to self-ID. And self-ID wouldn't be a competence, as they say in the Brussels lingo. So Brussels would never be able to mandate, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but the European Commission would never be able to mandate self-ID, but they can get around it in different ways. The big danger right now is that there's a violence against women directive. A lot of you will have heard about this from me. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to insert gender identity language into this directive. So a directive means that the countries have to do what's in the directive. They do it whatever way they want, but they have to achieve a minimum standard or whatever. It's not quite the same as a regulation, which is do things this way. The directive is basically telling them that they have to meet some sort of minimum standards. And it's just peppered with all this TRA language, which is really scary, because then I'm not a lawyer or a legal expert, but we know that then they sort of, in future laws, they refer to previous laws and say, as stated in the directive called XYZ, non-binary people are entitled to whatever. So, it just sort of legitimizes the institutionalization of this rubbish. But even more scary is that they're trying to introduce protections for pimps into the directive, which is it's not directly related to what we're talking about here, like the definition of women and stuff. But that's not in there because for reasons I'm not even going to go into, we submitted amendments. Some people in here helped as well to try and keep the definition of biological woman in the directive so that we would have women-only shelters. And we were not successful on that front. And the big fight right now is to stop them legalizing prostitution via the directive of violence against women. So just let me repeat that in case that wasn't clear. The TRAs in Brussels are using a law called Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence to legalize prostitution. So that's really terrifying. So we just had an event here a few days ago. I don't know if there's anybody in here from there, but Anna Zubnina's European Network of Migrant Women, a prostitution event. So we had survivors of prostitution came and spoke, and we stood outside the European Parliament and we said, don't use this bill to decriminalize pimps, basically. So Belgium and Argentina, I think, are the only two countries in the world that have fully legalized prostitution. So maybe Germany, actually. I don't remember which part of it is still illegal in Germany. What else is there to say? Too much. I've been stickering, I don't know if anybody saw my tweet, but I've been stickering around Brussels every opportunity I get. I think.
Let me just say, Rasheen, that what you're doing is amazing, and all the knowledge you have. I loved listening to you. Really, I'm so glad to know you. Could you just briefly maybe talk about the situation, the letter that came out, Reem Al-Salem from the UN spoke out on the matter, and I know that you, along with other women, are working in the background to try and make UN women understand what's at stake here. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit, because I'm not sure that all the women know that the letter from Reem, what the letter says, and if or whether it's important for us in the EU.
I haven't really been following. I mean, what I know is that Reem Al-Salem is very alone in the UN. I don't really know that much about what's going on, except that, I mean, I follow what's going on in the UN in the sense that I just posted about it about an hour ago. The new chair of the Committee on the Rights of the Child is a woman who's written about, the sexual agency of children and stuff. So I think what's happening is, everyone has this theory that after gay marriage passed in around 2015, Obergefell in the US, and then there was in the UK as well, and all these Western countries sort of legalized marriage equality. And everyone it's accepted knowledge at this stage then that the gay rights lobbies had not much on their hands, and they were sort of looking for a new cause, and they picked up the trans cause. And I suspect that it's not a coincidence that the United Nations, now I'm going to sound like QAnon, but it's not a coincidence that the United Nations sort of agreed on their sustainable development goals around at the exact same time. And I think the gay rights lobbies and the human rights lobbies were saying to themselves, particularly ILGA and Human Rights Campaign and Amnesty and stuff, said to themselves, we can contribute to a lot of these sexual and reproductive human rights, SRHR sort of goals, because those are peripherally related to the missions of those LGBTQ organizations, which is like bodily autonomy, bodily integrity, choice, sexual and reproductive rights, all that stuff. So I think that's maybe where all that money came from, because I don't think the trans rights mission is that, well, we all know it's not popular, but I don't think as a fundraising pitch it would have been very popular either. So my theory is that they're going really hard on all this decriminalization of prostitution and comprehensive sexuality education, and so that's why you see these things sort of like, when you look at these human rights and gay rights advocacy groups right now, you're like, how did trans rights become so seamlessly integrated with not only gay rights but also sexual education? Like, that's what they're all advocating for now, and I think it's part of these poverty busting goals. So I think where they're getting their money, and where they're getting their money to push trans stuff, is by applying for grants that are about ending poverty, about ending HIV, about educating girls about consent. And there was this big, maybe I'm just like rambling here, but there was this big scary document a while ago from the International Commission of Jurists, where everyone said, oh, they're trying to legalize sex between adults and children. They weren't explicitly saying that, but they left it open to interpretation that that's what they were saying. And I know what they were saying. What they were saying was decriminalize everything, because every act of criminalization against sex workers or children who have sex with each other, or age gap relationships, where a 20-year-old has sex with a 17-year-old. All of that stuff keeps people off the radar of the health authorities, and it keeps people off the radar of the sexual and reproductive health rights educators, especially in poorer parts of the world. And so the real scary thing for us now is this is all getting jumbled up into one cause, because, intersectionality isn't just, intersectionality. The NGOs that are pushing for trans rights have become so intersectional that they're getting money from all kinds of funds, because they're pushing for all kinds of things, and they're all related to anti-poverty goals and stuff. So I think that's where the money is coming from. And I think we need to be really careful. And one of the scariest things is that the new chair of the Committee on the Rights of the Child, so this is one of these legally binding UN conventions, as far as correct me if I'm wrong, but she's one of these, like, children are sexual, and children are very sexual from a young age, and they all have sexual rights and stuff like this. So it's not a coincidence at all that this is all happening sort of at the same time, and that it's all been as Esther Kovat says, it's all being sort of glued together in one sort of progressive blob. So if you're against gender affirming care, which is now coming under the banner of sexual and reproductive health and rights, then you're also anti-abortion. And it's just this effort. It's very American style of politics. I think, you're either with all of these good, everything I like is human rights, is basically what they're saying. Like, all the things that are good are human rights. So anyway, what we need to watch out for, what we need to be careful about, is the Committee on the Rights of the Child. So if anybody wants to do anything in relation to that, the only thing that we can do is that we can write to the special procedures, but it's such a long, drawn out procedure. You really need to be an NGO with a few staffers to be able to take the time to do this. And like people like Sex Matters and stuff, I think they do it. But myself and somebody else who might be in here, we talked a while ago about trying to figure out like the easiest way to do a mass mailing campaign to the Committee on the Rights of the Child, because this is just getting out of hand. They're gonna, if they're saying, access to reproductive health is a human right, which is what they're saying, and gender affirming care comes in under that right, it's going to be legally binding for countries that have signed up to that convention to follow what the UN says. So all we can do is like helpless bystanders is write to them. But now we see, even, I'm sorry to be a downer, but you see the NGOs are giving people grants to write letters to committees in the UN. So they know how long it takes and how much effort it requires. So they're actually saying like, okay, we'll give you €2,000 so you can like take a month off work and write this letter to the UN. And it's so horribly like astroturfed. I have nothing good to say. I have no good news. You can write to the UN. One thing that I can say, somebody said to me earlier today, if you know anybody in Germany who has been affected in any way by gender identity madness, a parent, write to Volker Turk and tell him that Reem Al-Salem's letter speaks for you. She speaks for you. That's the only thing we can do at the moment. And apparently it's effective, and apparently, it's only a small thing, but one of the things I heard is that in the UN, they're not hearing from us. And that's one of the reasons, is because we don't have the time to take a week off work to do the procedures that are required. But they're not hearing from us. They're only hearing from the TRAs in the UN. The UN it's very scary, because the governments have signed up to stuff years ago that they're not even aware. They're just these they get elected, they arrive in their office, and then they have this law on the table and they sign it. Helen Joyce said that a few weeks ago at the GenSpec conference. She said she was like, people say, why are these politicians passing these laws? And the answer simply is like, it's just there in front of them, and their job is just to pass laws, so they just pass what's there in front of them. This stuff has all been en route from years ago, from agreements that everybody made, that the Dutch say that kids are sexual from birth, and they've got really low HIV rates, and they girls don't get pregnant as teenagers, and so maybe we should do like the Dutch. And so they all signed this thing, and then suddenly, like 10 years later, it's on the desk of the Green Party, and they're like, well, yeah, hell yeah, I'll sign this. So that might be an oversimplification, but it might help understand maybe a little bit how we got here. And of course, all sorts of opportunists take advantage, like pedophiles and things. So that's obviously the very worrying part. I'm rambling, so I'm just going to stop talking now.
No, thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much,
Can you
Roisin.
do me a favor? The person you just mentioned, the parents with
Oh yeah,
the person you mentioned. Can you write the name again so that I can pass it on? Because I just
Volker Turk. I'm going to
Volker
write it.
Turk.
Yeah,
Okay.
isn't he like the head of the UN, or is the chef, or is he the human rights guy? I can't remember.
I just wrote it down.
Thank you so much, Roisin. I just wanted to ask Angie Jones, because she was a speaker, but I think we lost her right now, if she wants to add something to. I'm gonna look if she wants to come up again. Too bad. No, I was interested in hearing what the situation in Australia is right now. Okay, I'm gonna pick you up again, Angie. Just a second. Oh, sorry. Okay. Wait. Are you here, Angie? Wait a minute. I just want to hear from Australia how the situation is there now. I just have to find her. Here you are. Zum Sprechen einladen. So you have the invitation now. Thank you, Roisin, again for telling us so much about the the situation of the child in Europe. I appreciate that very much. Angie, I sent you an invitation to speak.
She's here.
Yeah,
Donna.
she's here. So tell us, please, the situation. Tell us about Australia. Let women speak, but you can talk about whatever you want, of course. But maybe an update, maybe how you're feeling about what Let Women Speak, the event, did for you in Australia. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, good morning. I've only just woken up. It's about 6 a.m. here in Melbourne. Yeah, it's been interesting just listening to you guys for the last few minutes talking about the awful things that are happening in your countries. This is what it's been like here for probably about 4 years. All of the things that are being proposed overseas, like conversion laws, decriminalising prostitution, all of those things have already happened here, and mostly they've happened by stealth, or they've happened because the public has been deliberately misinformed of the impacts of those things. We don't have women's rights in the public domain anymore. We have token gestures towards women, but we don't have any sort of advocacy for women and what is best for us. All of the usual things that women advocate for, like wage parity, domestic violence, stopping women from being raped and assaulted. None of those things are prioritised publicly. Everything we try and do, like if I'm involved in a domestic violence support service, and we can't get funding because the only funding that we can get is from the state or local government. And in order to apply for the grants that we need to access that funding, we have to tick a little box that says we will not discriminate against LGBTB whatever people, but that means the TQ. And when you read it, you are under no illusion that means anybody but the TQ. So we can't apply for funding, because if we do and we exclude someone from the TQ as a women's organisation, then we're in serious trouble and we have to pay back the money even if it's spent, or we'll be dragged through a tribunal, which nobody can afford. So, Canada, Australia, they're probably New Zealand, they're probably the worst. And while it's comforting to hear the world wake up, it's also terrifying, because we can't organise in the street anymore. Since the Let Women Speak event in Melbourne, it is not safe for women to organise publicly and advertise it or make it public, because the two most powerful men in our state politically deliberately and maliciously defamed women's rights activists as neo-Nazis because neo-Nazis turned up to our event. Now, how do we fight? We're listening to what you're doing overseas, because you haven't had all of these draconian and terrifying and Orwellian things happen yet. And we're listening to you, how you're mobilising and just desperately hoping that you succeed, because we didn't have the awareness that you have. 4 years ago, self-ID was snuck through, and people still don't know that men are allowed in all women's services, all of them, that we have no rights. And people don't find out until it affects them directly. So we're still, just so far behind. But thanks to Kellie J and Let Women Speak coming to Australia, even though it didn't happen in a way we could have ever imagined, because a lot of horrible things have happened as a result of the misinformation that's out there in the media and from politicians, it has woken people up, because people have seen left-wing feminists being called neo-Nazis and thought, hang on, there's something not right about this. What are these women actually asking for? So I've noticed we've have a lot more support. Like my Twitter following has gone up dramatically. My YouTube channel has a lot more interaction. They're small positives that I notice on a personal level, but on the public level, politicians and the media have doubled down that the pro-trans propaganda is non-stop. It's in every single institution. It's in most private companies as well. And, you know, a lot of us are exhausted, and new women who come into the fight are overwhelmed. You know, I'm not a one-issue feminist, although I've been accused of it because my Twitter and my YouTube represents the single issue of fighting gender identity ideology. But, you know, a lot of the things that I care deeply about, that I'm involved with personally, have been put on the back burner. And I'm terrified that those fights that women are fighting are sort of being ignored. And this is part of the plan. You know, this is part of the plan that women just have no rights. It's not just about gender and putting men in our spaces. It's about denying us all of the other things that are important to us as a means of social control. But you tell that to the average person and they think you lost your mind because they don't feel disempowered yet. But ask any woman who's on the margins of poverty or homelessness or experiencing family violence, domestic violence, male violence against women, See, their language has even penetrated my brain. That you ask, you know, people and women affected by all of these things, and, you know, you wonder what century you're living in, really, because it just does not make any sense that women in 2023 are genuinely oppressed by, you know, what's happening. The decriminalisation of prostitution is heartbreaking. I have friends who are still in their 50s working in prostitution in brothels, and what has happened now is that the fees that they charge have gone, a tradesman, like an electrician or a plumber or a painter, earns more money than they do, and their conditions have not improved because all the women that I know work under a false name and they get paid cash. So all of the, unionisation and methods that the government are lying and saying are going to improve their welfare have had no impact or negative impact, because now the establishments that they work for are passing on costs to them, regardless of whether they're paying tax or getting paid cash. So there are all sorts of things that have proven, even in this short period of time, that decriminalisation is a negative thing. And of course there's the proliferation of, OnlyFans being promoted as a positive thing for kids. It's just really, honestly, for anyone who's remotely aware of women's issues, Australia is a dystopian nightmare, but so few people are aware, and we're just frustrated here. But we're very heartened to see the women overseas fight so hard, and we're very heartened and very grateful that you see us, because we've been fighting this for years. Like I only became publicly involved in this in probably 2014 when my father-in-law decided he was a woman at the age of 65. But I've only been active on Twitter since I think 2018, 2019, and there's women who've been fighting this longer than I have, who must be just shaking their heads because we don't seem to be getting anywhere. But, because of you, because of everybody overseas, you give us hope. You give us a lot of hope. And you also draw people in, because our media is so biased. We don't see anything. We've even had the E-Safety Commissioner, which is, issue injunctions so that news stories can't be posted on Twitter. So private citizens are receiving legal letters saying you have to remove that. If not, you'll be in trouble. You'll get dragged through a tribunal. Like, it's just crazy from a tweet. And we've had media agencies be told that they can't publish certain things, and and it's nothing awful. It's like the man who breastfed his child. The guy wasn't abused. It's fact. They're denying facts. They're denying things that are right before us, and they're saying that they're not happening and that we can't talk about it. And it's a really, really surreal position to be in. So yeah, thank goodness Kellie J came out and ripped the lid off it, and that everyone finally sees us and what we have to put up with. And Kellie J famously said, if she can break Australia, then there is hope for the other countries, like, really indoctrinated countries like Canada and the US. And I really do think she did. I think that she changed things here. And I've been demonized for involving myself with her as a left-wing feminist. I've been told that I'm no longer welcome in the left. So not only have I been kicked out of all of the groups and social networks that I was in previously because of, not believing that women can have a penis, but now I've been kicked out of all the social groups and demonized for associating with Kellie J, and also some conservative, not far right, but conservative politicians who are willing to work on, with us and on our behalf. I've been demonized for that. So it's been a very lonely journey for me as a woman from the left, and as a feminist. But I don't feel so alone knowing that you are all out there. And in a little aside, when I first woke up, it was just after 5 a.m. because a cat was sitting on my head, and I could hear the space and women speaking in German. And my grandmother was from Austria, and she left in 1938. And I grew up here in Victoria, understanding a little bit of the German accent, because she used to quite often particularly swear in German still. But, she taught us some basic German, and I can't remember being able to speak German, but I can kind of almost understand it. So it was kind of almost waking up to like a gentle alarm, something that was familiar, rather than waking up to a cat on my head and kids trying to get me up at, when it's still dark. So I really appreciate the space, and I'm going to go and have some coffee. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Angie, thank you very much. I listened to your speech in Melbourne, and ever since then I wanted to ask you how you were doing. So now you told us that's not very nice. But I am amazed. Yeah, what?
No. You go on. I'm sorry. I didn't want to
Okay.
interrupt you.
I am amazed that what did I want to say? Now, let me collect myself. That you say that you feel inspired by us. I feel inspired by you. And because the Germans only started recently. I mean, I'm talking like 2 years maybe, some of us a bit longer, but really that you feel something is really moving. It's like 1.5 years maybe. And so I don't know where you get the idea that we are inspiring. Thank you very much. But no, I don't see it that way. I think we really have got to really get our bums up and do something, really. I mean, like going in the streets and informing people, because it's just we talk a lot and we are in solidarity with you, and some people are really good at writing to MPs and all kinds of things, but somehow we don't manage to get together and the movement going. And so you're inspiring, actually. So please follow me. There will be more spaces in English as from now on. I wanted to do that anyway. So I do mine here every week in German, and well, more often than once. But I want to stretch my hand out to the English-speaking women, because we need to get going and we need to support each other. And even if it's just by saying, yay, we're here. I was so happy now before everybody goes. I was so happy that this little German space had visitors from all over the place, from Australia, from Switzerland, of Canada, UK, name it. And I'm very, very happy and humble that you all found your way to listen to us. And there will be more in the future. Thanks for being here. And Angie, you said you've got a YouTube channel. Please post it in the bubble down there. The same for Exolanzik. I know you've got I don't know if you've got YouTube still, but you're on, what's it called? Whatever.
Yeah,
Put
I've got
it
a
down there
YouTube.
in the bubble.
Yeah,
you've
I've got a YouTube as well as some
because
other
you were
channels.
gone for a while. Yeah, post your
Yeah,
channels,
yeah,
please.
I'm back, and they even monetized
right.
me, so I will post a link.
Yeah,
and then I've also
please
got
do that.
of my latest channel or latest video, and then the link tree, so you can see my other
Wonderful.
platforms.
Yes, please post that, Angie. You post everything you can post, and all the other active women down in the space, please post your details. Well, if you want, your YouTube channels, whatever you've got, a podcast, whatever is important for us, post it in the bubble down there. Thank you very much.
Elswat, can I say
yeah.
something to Angie quickly,
Yes,
please? So Angie, someone has the microphone on still, and there is some noise in the background.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Angie, just quickly, I am in the Social Democratic Party in Vienna for about in Austria for about 12 years now. I live in Vienna now, and I was born in Kosovo in Europe. My parents came as refugees to Austria, and we were in a refugee camp and very poor and everything. I have four sisters. And I am a socialist by heart, and I love the theory. I love everything about it. I'm a feminist even more. And now I'm 34. I have my own child. I totally feel what you just said. The thing about being like, what the party is doing to me and what women are doing to me, isolating me, not talking to me anymore, and all these things. I just couldn't give any more shit about it. Hearing that something Nazi, something, I just don't care for it at all anymore. I don't care if they think that Posey is bad or whatever. I just cannot care anymore because, and I know that you know that, because I know that this is the reason you did it. You did the event. You invited Posey over to Australia, and I know that you know that, but I just wanted to say, when there are women who call themselves feminists within the socialist movement or social democratic movement or Marxist movement or whatever you want to call it, and they are not able to analyze anything in a Marxist way, in a materialistic way, as in materialistic philosophy, then I just have to laugh about them. I have to laugh. It's sad. But I cannot take them seriously anymore. If they're conservative women who agree with me on surrogacy, on prostitution, more than my own comrades, women in my age within the party, what do I have to do with them anymore? I cannot talk to them about most feminist topics. I cannot talk to them about porn. I cannot talk to them about prostitution. I cannot talk to them about surrogacy. What is there to be spoken about? So of course I cannot talk to them about gender identity, about the fact that they're taking our language, that they're taking they're taking everything. there's women, lesbians, who cannot go on dating apps for lesbians because they're being banned, and I just feel so mad that they think they have somewhat control over what I'm saying or what I'm doing, because fuck them. And I know that you think the same, but I just wanted to say that I think a lot of women here in this space are experiencing the same things, but only, we're so far from each other, so we cannot talk all the time about what is happening to us personally, being banned, being demonetized, being silenced, being smeared, all these things. But I love that you're here, and I love that you're still doing it. So it gives me so much hope and courage. And this is what I wanted to say. I have to go to bed because it's already 10:30, and I am up. I'm up. I woke up at 5:30. So I have to go to sleep because my son wakes up at 5:30. So I need to I will stay in the space, but. Yeah, I'm tired. So thank you so much that you're here, and that you're speaking to us from California, from Australia. I really feel connected right now, and I think it's a beautiful feeling.
Absolutely. Thank you, Donna. Donna, this couldn't have happened if you hadn't talked to me yesterday. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely thrilled, and I'm thrilled that there are so many people here listening and maybe wanting to connect, and my follower count has gone up quite a bit. Thank you very much to all of you giving me a chance to prove myself. Thanks, Donna, and I cannot wait to see you in Vienna. It's not a long time now, and we will all be there. We will be there, and we will have a bloody good time. I'm absolutely convinced of that. Thank you very much.
Can I just add something to that? Because I would
Yes.
like to address Angie. Angie, I have a few colleagues, I'm in science, from Australia, and I fully understand that being on that island, which is a continent in the middle of nowhere from, the perspective of everywhere else on the globe, you feel very isolated. But what I would like to tell you is that we see you. I mean, I've come across your name on Twitter. Basically, at the moment, I went into that topic. And you've been an inspiration. And honestly, even though you might feel like you're not have been achieving a lot, I think you're braver than lionesses, because you've been fighting against something which is much, much bigger. Because you got all that self-ID and, with all this progressive ideas moving forward, overruling women's rights, you're now fighting back. You're fighting back at a point where you are having the worst. We are in a privileged situation because we might still stop the worst from happening. So I think you're much, much braver than we are. We can actually, maybe in tactics you can learn from the UK, but I think when it comes to bravery, we can learn from you Australian women. And I really admire what you and other women are doing in Australia. So kudos to you. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Frau Schulz, Word und Judith.
Yes, I wanted to thank you too. And I want to add that I personally believe that all that we are here, all the women, we inspire each other. And we need to inspire each other. Everyone who speaks out is an inspiration for the next woman. Also, if we see other people, other women speak out too, that gives us courage. It's not only the number, but it's the feeling to be part, to be not alone, to share the sights, the insights, to learn from each other. And I think that's actually where our strength lies, that we listen to each other, learn from each other, encourage each other, empower each other, and go on. And in the end, we will win. Because we can't afford to lose, and because we are who we are, and we are on the right side. That was it.
Thank you very much, A.P.Schulz. Word Rabbit.
I can pass it on to Judith because I have to think about something still.
Okay, Judith.
Okay, I just wanted to summarize because this was a real great space, international, in fact, all over the world, with gorgeous women who are very well known, like Kellie J.Keen, Excellency, Angie Jones, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to spell it, Rangine. And I really appreciated that, and I'm looking forward to L Squad making more such spaces. It was really great, and it's gorgeous. Not only talking in German spaces or listening to English speaking spaces, but connecting that is really, really great. And thank you all, and thanks, for the new followers of you. I appreciate that too very much.
Thank you very much. But I want to add Rona Dove and Eva Engelken, who are in our space as well, and they are.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I left out the German women because I'm in spaces with them all the time. I just mentioned those. Who were new to a space from us in one of our spaces. I'm
of
sorry,
course, but I want
but
to
I
mention
love
them.
those women, of course, and I know them well, and yeah.
I just want to mention them because they are, like our pillars here in Germany, who have been sticking their heads out and get knocked over every so often, and then they get up and carry on. So I want them to be mentioned. Okay, Word, have you collected your thoughts?
Yes, I just wanted to add that I've been posting some of the blogs and sites, Substack sites below in the bubble. And I please, I want to encourage you guys. Please post your own stuff because I can't keep up. It's so much, and there's so many women, and I'm just discovering even some of your pages that you're having. I've been following you on Twitter, but I didn't know that you have a blog or a Substack or something like that. So please share it here. There are so many women here in this space globally, and I think we have to do more to connect. And yes, so this is all I wanted to say, and thank you everyone. And I will be going down as well because I have to sleep too.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here anyway, given your situation at the moment. Thank you very much. Yes, about the, you can see in my what's it called, profile, you can see that I'm doing podcasts and YouTube and all kinds of things. I started that in German, but I am open to do conversations with women who want to talk to me. That's what I do in German. I talk to women who want to talk, just to talk. And then we talk about whatever they want to talk about. So I invite you, English speaking women, if you would like to share anything with us, with me, please feel free to drop me a DM, and we make an appointment, and then we record a talk. So if you feel like it, just contact me. Same counts for German women, of course, but you are aware of my podcasts already, hopefully. Yeah, Ilse, you wanted to say something, didn't you?
No, I think I already made the statement. So I already said what I was going to say.
Oh.
I mean, you know me. I can talk on for another 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 hours, but that's not my aim tonight. So I have
know.
to stay back in and be quiet for a while.
This wonderful lady was one of my first victims. I did a conversation with on my podcast, and yeah, that was exciting. We couldn't stop talking until we nearly keeled over because we were so tired, and it was very nice, and people loved the conversation. It was about everything, I don't know, hyenas and lionesses and uh, trans
Wolves, don't
people.
forget the wolves.
Wolves, the wolves, yes, the wolves. But the hyenas I found very impressive. But anyway, so it was really, really nice talking to her. Well, unfortunately, that's a German podcast, so the English-speaking world can't enjoy that one. Anyway, is there anybody who wants to add anything to the conversation? Or are we kind of there yet? This is rather early for German standards. That's at 10:30. People are tired. I
Squad, you
can't
can
believe it.
still make a German squad after as a German space. Oh my God, my brain is a German. We can make an after space,
I
a
wish
German
we
after
were a
space.
squad. I wish we were a squad, yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But I think that
Yeah.
we can wrap it up, shouldn't we, for this space? I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm not sure if Word wants to speak again. I see asking for the right to speak, but I can't give it. So I don't know if it's something wrong with my device or not.
Okay. I invited her, and Bellona has come up. So hello.
Hi, I just wanted to make a quick comment to remind people about Royson's comment about Volker Turk. If you are in Germany, please comment to Volker Turk, send a message to him, and re-listen to that part when this space is done. And also spread the word to people living in Germany. We need to do that. And if there's anyone who is a TERF who has a GoFundMe or something, or has who's turfing out like Royson, and is has funds that make sure to donate to Royson and anyone else turfing out. And yeah, just want to say that.
Thank you ever so much. So, Roysin and lasst Frauen sprechen and me, if you care, because I've got expenses too.
Absolutely.
So, yes, please, if you got links to make donations, put them in the bubble down there on the right side where there is an 81 at the moment. 81 messages alone in this space. So I want to ask the Germans here, or the German speaking community I've got here, would you like a follow up space in German? Would you join or? Okay, that makes 2. 3, okay. If there are 5, it makes sense. Well, okay, I will do a follow up. So, thank you to everybody who has been here listening, talking, sharing. I had a field that really, it was really lovely. And I hope we will be able to connect occasionally. I would say maybe once a month or something to exchange what we are experiencing in our countries. I would invite you, Angie, to stay in contact with me, and we can, with Belfast, maybe because she's in it, kind of mentally. We could arrange spaces where we can connect, basically. No. So let's try and get that going. I don't know. I can only think of thank you, and that means my brain is absolutely overloaded. Thank you, and I hope I will see you again. I will hear you again. And yes, Senna, I'm so happy that you're here. I was hoping you would be here, and I've seen you. You've been here the whole time. Thank you very much, Senna. I know that's my contact to Canada. So I hope you will be in a space where we talk together. Okay, for now, this is it. Thank you, Donna, for co-hosting and making this space as it was happen. Thank you, Frau Schulz, for co-hosting. And we were nervous, I can tell you that. And I think this was a brilliant space. We managed, it was beautiful, the atmosphere was good, and I'm all hyped up now to go to Vienna, even more than I was before.
Thank you
Good
to
night.
you. You're a brilliant host. I love your laid back and wonderful voice. Thank you so much, El Squad.
Thank you, Donna. But can I tell you that I nearly keeled over at 19:30 our time. I thought I can't do it. My heart was racing, and I was scared, and all the things that you are when you are a tiny little account with a. I mean, mind you, Kellie J has got 100,000 plus followers. And I thought, oh my God, I can't handle it. Thank you for reassuring me. And I think it went well. I'm quite pleased with you and with myself. So this was the next step to what was it? What did Kellie J.Keen? World domination? We will manage. We stick
No,
together and
world femination.
world femination. That's a good one. Okay,
We
so
just have to embrace power and use it for the better of the people, all people,
yes, all
and
people,
female people first,
absolutely.
because we were disadvantaged for I don't know how many thousands of years, and we
Yes,
will not make it worse for. Well, we will make it worse for males because they will lose their privilege, but they might actually wake up in a better world made by women.
oh my God. Now, I go now. You know, like I'm a bit worried if Velo gets going, this will be very irritating, maybe if you don't know her. But anyway,
Let's
I love you to
dream
bits.
about Fantopia.
I have
Famtopia.
a dream.
Yes, no, we're not going there. Okay, sweetie. Bye. And you know, you're brave. Stay brave. Bye.